Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I keep thinking about this idea of re-entry as we prepare to worship together on June 7th. At least some of us who feel comfortable being able to do it. It feels a bit overwhelming, knowing that we're going to keep tweaking what we're doing and being conscious of being cautious, with one another, to the chagrin of some and to the approval of others. Of course, worship is an essential part of our lives, right? Without a doubt. And no one has never said it isn't essential. Okay, but it's we're not Walmart. Okay. People say, well, Walmart's open, the church should be open. Well, in Walmart, you don't go and sit in one room with the same number of people, for an hour or an hour and a half, and it's just different dynamics. That's just reality. At this point, I'm not even sure we should be singing, other than the worship team singing. In fact, we're kind of leaning in that direction right now. Yes, singing is an essential part of the worship experience, but it doesn't need to be the death of us. And I know that sounds overly dramatic. So be it. I'm not one who's never been accused of not being dramatic. So why stop with the drama now, right? If the church truly is committed to the care of the souls, then not singing on Sunday or, even being absent on, Sunday the 7th is not a test of faith, okay? It's an affirmation of faith in life. If you choose not to come because you don't want to put others at risk. If God really is present everywhere, and if church, at least some of them, decide they need to just continue to worship online as their only form of worship, then so be it. It's all good. The Spirit knows where to find us, okay? Whether we're online or whether we're gathering at the corner of 12th and 7th in some building of brick and mortar. Of course, I miss getting together, okay? I do. But if our way of gathering, does put others at risk of contracting the virus, that we still know so little of, then I'm at peace not gathering. If we deduce that as things progress that we need to cease and desist from the physical gathering. Don't want to be a broken record, but at this point, I am broken, and I'm going to keep going over and over again the things that are important for a healthy community. Those of us who feel the compulsion of the Spirit to restore in-church worship here, then it's also mandated on us to offer the care of the souls in ways that protect everyone, especially those chronologically or physically challenged. So, when we do gather, everyone attending worship must wear a mask. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay? This is a theocracy. God's in control here, and we're That's all there is to it. We're not going to put this baby to vote. To wear a mask both to protect yourselves and the most vulnerable among us. Failure to do so, I believe, is undermining the heart of Jesus' teaching to love our neighbor as ourselves. Refusing to wear a mask at worship may say more about a person's Christianity, or dare I say lack of it, than the decision to show up on a Sunday. Sounds like I'll get in trouble with that statement. The danger of singing, as I've alluded to already, must be taken seriously. Recent studies are showing that singing can send particles from our mouths much further than 6 feet. So perhaps we should consider humming with our mouths closed. So, okay? You'll be a bunch of not songbirds, but hummingbirds. The hummingbirds of First Christian Church. I can just hear it now. Congregational social distancing is essential. Many churches have added multiple services to be able to spread people out. You know, we're not that large, so I'm not sure we're going to have to be doing that. But it is interesting. One Episcopal bishop in Kentucky was working with a church that could hold 400 people in the sanctuary. And the way that church is configured, they figured out that they could have 19 people sitting in there who could be safe. We will look here at blocking off every other pew. Okay, so you're not breathing down someone's neck. Yeah. So, and with regard to us worship leaders, Tammy and I, we will be masked until those moments that we do need to speak with you or I'm preaching, and we'll pull our masks down. Thus, we are asking people not to sit in the first 2 pews towards the front. I'm actually asking people to sit towards the back. Unbelievable. Boy, that's got to end soon. But that's kind of where we're going with all of that, okay? Passing the peace, hugging, handshakes, close proximity conversations are things of the past for the time being, okay? Can't control you when you're in the parking lot, but I'm sure I probably can't even control you in here, but we're going to do our best. Hand sanitizer is readily available here. Please use it generously, and love will prevail. Okay? Okay. Let me think what else. Communion. Yep. You know, we'll do communion, but we will have to have people space 6 feet apart as they're coming forward. And a couple of the elders and Tammy and I will be up front, masked and with gloves, and we'll be handing you communion. It'll be 2 cups together. The bottom cup will have the bread. The top cup, which will be inside the cup with the bread, well, the top cup will have the juice. And we'll have both cups to you at the same time. And you do with it, you know, partake, and then toss the cups. So that's kind of where we're going with that. With regard to things like baptism, we do have some people who want to be baptized. For the time being, that is being put off, unless we can find a river nearby and harken back to the good old days. Snake River's a bit big, and I can't swim, so. But I'll be game. Just get me a floaty or, you know, a duck ring or something, and it'll all be good. Truth is, traditional forms of worship, and I know we're not real liturgical or traditional around here. I get that. I know some of you'd like to be more so. But turning back to traditional forms of worship, it'll be a while. Protecting those who come together and ensuring that homebound congregants, those who aren't coming, are included, will require both on-site and online worship. Okay? We need to keep the faith community intact. Through it all, the witness of the church will undoubtedly be evaluated by the seriousness with which we take the logistics of worship in this COVID-19 era. At best, perhaps we Christians will discover a new sense of the Spirit, uniting us in church, at home, or wherever the Spirit finds us. Now, if none of this which I've been talking about sounds appealing to you, then I understand if it doesn't. It doesn't appeal to your sensibilities of what you like as your worship experience. I'd either encourage you to stay home or come to church here and ask for God to give you a tender heart and not a judgmental one or a grumbling one. Or if you feel you can't do that, then find another church that doesn't quite have the social distancing in place that we have. Worship. Worship doesn't have to be limited here. There are many churches out there. Take care of your relationship with God and with God's community in this world. I'll leave it at that. With this current pandemic, some people just see the reality in which we find ourselves, and they're stuck. They're just stuck there. Okay? It's overwhelming. And so they hold back and don't, at this point, can't even imagine stepping into church for who knows when. While others seem to be ignoring the reality of the seriousness of it all. And through that lack of seriousness, have put others in harm's way, or can have the tendency of doing that by their behavior. Some, I guess you can say, are overreacting, and some are just underreacting. Okay? That's what I love about Jesus. You can never really say he over or underreacted, depending on the circumstance. He just didn't. He saw what he would see when he walked into a situation. He saw the reality of the situation in which he entered. But he also saw the possibilities. He didn't let that reality just close him down. He looked for possibilities and conveyed those possibilities to others. He saw reality, but he didn't let it hold him back. I think that's what we're trying to do on the 7th of June. We're going to acknowledge the seriousness of the situation, okay, that we're in, while at the same time we're trying to find a path, okay, forward. So we're just not stuck. It's like we're going to try to put our big toe in and test the waters and see what they're like. And if it's safe, then we may get our whole foot in. And who knows from that point on, right? But we have to look at the possibilities when we gather. And we have to keep an open mind and heart and be creative and led by the Spirit. The game plan, really, at this point, is not to get back to what we were experiencing back in January of this year. That isn't the game plan, to go back to where we were. Honestly, I don't think we can, because we are different people because of the experience we have had over these 2+ months. We are just different, okay? And there are lessons I think we all have learned personally and communally that we need to hold on to, okay? We've made sacrifices to be a part. There's some things I think that are healthy that we have learned that we need to apply in our ministry now. And that's for you and for our leadership to assess and to consider in the months and years to come. Jesus saw the possibility of who people could be, who they could become. He saw the infinite nature of potential that presents itself when God's love meets a person. We need to see that same potential in each other and in this ministry. Jesus' focus was just not on a better future. It was on a better today. Okay? And nothing got in Jesus' way. We need to see the reality of our situation, just acknowledge it, okay? And consider the possibilities that are before us. Honestly, many of you have not let the virus get in your way of your relationship with others, and I think that's awesome. You have adapted, and we need to do the same moving forward with our ministry here at First Christian Church and our mission. I've seen people grow closer during this pandemic while they've been apart. How ironic is that? I've seen a greater level of sensitivity towards others and need for one another that I hope we can carry with us when we do actually begin to physically gather together again in the sanctuary. If we're going to follow Jesus, our rabbi, then we need to take time to be with him. And I hope you've been doing that. We need to become like him. And we need to do what he did. We should be practicing seeing the world the way Jesus did. Rooted in reality, not, in denial of what's around us, but brimming with possibilities, the situations in which we find ourselves. We've been reaching more people. We have been reaching more people with our ministry over these past couple months than at any point, more than at any other point in my 14 years here. What does that say? God help us if we fall back into using Sunday morning Sunday school and worship as a crutch, thinking, well, I've gathered and I've done my church thing for the week. God help us if we fall back into that. Because I think we'd kind of fallen into that. I know I had. People have had to work these past 2 months to stay connected with each other. That's a good thing. We've been reminded of how valuable we are to each other, and we cannot lose sight of the deep spiritual gratitude for each other. Jesus saw the now and the not yet in people and in circumstances. We need such vision. He saw the demonic possession in a man. He saw the blindness in some people, the physical and the spiritual blindness. He saw the ignorance in some. He saw the hatred in others. He saw the sin in individuals, and he acknowledged it, called it out with love, and he offered a vision of what could be. He joined the people where they were and offered to journey and walk with them. We must do the same. Okay, this is where we're at. We're in this doggone pandemic situation, all right, where over 100,000 people have died. Yeah. And people are all over the place with viewing this pandemic and the depth of the reality and how it's being portrayed and dealt with. We need to acknowledge that, the various understandings and views of the great loss of life and where this is all taking us. We need to acknowledge that reality and move forward. And make sure that no one's being left behind as we do so. or no one's feeling like they're having to be dragged into doing something that they're uncomfortable with, but they'll do it anyway because they don't want to be left behind, like, Sunday worship. So with that said, I can tell you right now, I will not oversee, I will not encourage a church to have a Sunday gathering, fellowship, while at the same time have a non-Sunday group that's feeling left out. I cannot worship on Sunday morning feeling that there are others who want to be here, but they honestly cannot be here because they don't want to put others at risk in their families. And so they're feeling left out. We have to work at that. The Sunday morning gathering came together. Good for you. Oh, I'm sorry you guys didn't come. You really missed out on this and that. No. When we gather here, we have to carry in our hearts those who are not here. And somehow we have to carry the good news to them to make sure that they're included and that we go forward together. Not a Sunday and a non-Sunday gathering group. I'm not going to have any patience for that. Okay? If we're going to do something, we need to do it together. We're not going to be a group of Sunday attendees and, Sunday non-attendees. If our only goal is to physically worship again, all of us at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, that's not going to cut it. Okay? Those of us who gather must consider the ways and the possibilities to stay connected to those who choose not to come because of their health or the health of those that they care for. What are the possibilities for us as a church? We must no longer take for granted the physical gathering together. As we take time to consider new possibilities for First Christian Church, new horizons will open up. Possibility, it is the container for the miraculous. I believe that. Practicing to see the possibilities is a way, you could say, of practicing resurrection. It's a way of seeing those possible avenues out there to experience and to offer new life. God bless you. Hang in there. Peace be with you. Always. Love ya.